Wait, shut off the music. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Tis us, your live streaming web designer and web developer daily morning show. We have our coffees. We got our Americano today. Hopefully our mics are working good. Trying to fix some situations because we're in the same room, echoing through each other's microphones. It's really good. Nice and strong. Today, we're excited to show my son that we got him this piggy bank. That the cat comes out and grabs the coin. It's not from Wish. It's actually from Amazon, but I know that Amazon is going to start selling Wish stuff in Temu. It could literally be from there, honestly.
Oh, yeah, it looks like that type.
It looks like it all stuffed in like this. I kind of miss Temu and Wish, but I know it's not good stuff. Like, it's unhealthy stuff. Like the chemicals they put in the plastics and what they build with, I've heard.
So today is actually National Dimples Day. So for everyone with dimples, are those? Yeah, those.
You have dimples. Yeah, I have man-made dimples. They weren't there before.
So it's funny, which I didn't realize. Dimples are actually a sign of beauty. So all the people out there with dimples, shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
And to me.
And to my beautiful wife. Yeah, look at that. I'm trying. There's no beauty here, though.
Yes, there is.
Womp, 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 womp. Yeah, National Dimples Day. It's crazy. What else is it? Other national days?
Yeah, I'm sure. There's always at least 4 other national days, but
let's see what's today.
Definitely wanted to talk about the National Dimples Day. Stood out to me.
National Dimple Day.
It was actually a short Dimple Day.
Mayor?
Dimple Day. It sounds so weird.
Dimple Day.
Yeah, can you click on it? Yep. It was a Greek thing.
Women who have back dimples are sometimes referred to as dimples of Venus. According to Greek mythology, Venus is known as the Roman goddess of love and beauty. Since her beauty relates to love and desire, it's evident why people today refer to back dimples as dimples of Venus.
What does it say about the guy? Weird. Okay.
Men also have dimples on their back, which we checked and I don't. Men with back dimples refer to them as dimples of Apollo. References say Apollo was the god of light, whose primary job was to pull the sun across the sky in his chariot. As the son of Zeus, he was admired for his knowledge in medicine, art, poetry, and music.
Wow. Yeah, and you even have famous people that have dimples. If you just keep scrolling.
Good luck in China, too. The appearance of dimples depends on the shape of the skull, which makes sense because we have very different shaped skulls, right?
Yeah, and even the back dimples, too. It actually has to do with the architecture of your body.
I see the
and it creates a good structure. Oh, we all know Mario.
You love us.
He's like the famous dimple guy.
Yeah, as soon as you said dimples, that's all I thought of. Mario Lopez.
It should be like Mario Lopez, famous dimple guy.
Mario Lopez.
That's all we know him for.
It's a change.
Save, what is it?
Who?
Bell. Save. What's the?
Saved by the Bell. That's him.
Save.
Oh, why you know him? You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should rename dimples to Lopez's.
Saved by the Bell. I couldn't get the tense right.
Yeah.
I'm like Saved by the Bell.
I've never watched that show. Judy Garland of the fame Wizard of Oz. Sophia Bush.
Saved by the Bell.
Oh, she is. Kristen Dunst. Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, he does too. Gabrielle Union. Jennifer Garner. Isn't that the one that's with that guy?
That's
she's Timberlake?
No.
She looks like Justin Timberlake.
A famous actress, and she at one point was married to Ben Affleck. Right. But yeah, she's really, I like her. I like social media. Yeah. She's really down to earth and stuff.
Cow Appreciation Day. Ooh, we actually have a joke today. We won't tell the punchline until the end, but why does a web designer, I mean, what is it?
Can we get this?
We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
It would make sense if we get to the topic.
A web designer and a UX designer walk into a bar. So we look at this cow. So what is a web designer and a web UX designer? Reina, do you want to go over some?
Well, yeah, let me do an intro here. So today we're going to talk about the differences between web designers and UX designers. You've probably heard of references like when it comes to user experience, UX design, but we want to really point out certain elements that show clear differences so you have a better understanding what web design is versus what UX. UX has a lot more layers to it, and we'll get into the differences of each. So,
And the similarities. They do kind of overlap and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. I got this. You could kind of see the overlap and the differences. I think just a 10,000 foot, I said that yesterday too, overview of what they are and why they're different is that a web designer, so sometimes these things overlap, of course, and jobs, and you wear different hats, and it's good to know the other side of it because it makes your side better. But as a web designer, your focus is on the look of it and on the experience. UX, that stands for user experience, even though it's not an X, it's an E. That stands for the usability of that design. So the design's good, but as they say, just because you built it doesn't mean they'll use it. So a user experience is focused on all those things that you kind of see on the left there. Not kind of, but you do see them if you can read. Personas, like the actual more complicated stuff, really. And the designer is focused on the way it looks and how good it looks and how branded it is to their branding. Did I get that right?
Yeah. That graph though has to do with user the interface. I think there was another.
Yeah, there's a few other ones that go over each one of them.
Yeah.
So like this is the user interface design.
Yep. So with the user interface, it really has to do with the aesthetics of the site. That's going to include the color, the fonts, the visual images, animations, the font family, the colors that you use, and things like that. So it's going to be superficially what web page is made of when it comes to colors and things like that.
Yeah, and then they sometimes I've worked with a couple UX designers, and a lot of the times they give it back to the web designer and say, well, we need this to do this, so you have to design this part, whether it be like the second part of a form or kind of how I was talking yesterday about the card when you said it should flip around. When I said, oh, what's the back look like? I think is kind of like design where you did that part, the UX designer says, well, now you decided it's going to flip around. A UX designer, their role would be to say, hey, this is going to flip around. Now, designer, please design the back of the card, because now you've already discussed the functionality of it. That's just a small example, but so yes, aesthetics, color scheme, assets, animation, anything that's visual on the screen that doesn't really have to do with the second part of the usability, the user experience. I like this like a sun with all the rays coming off.
Yeah, it does actually.
Right?
Yeah, so user experience. So UX designers really have a deep understanding and focus on how the user is going to interact with the page. And it really has to do with psychology, really, the user psychology, creating these optimal user pathways throughout the page. And UX is this kind of own beast in the sense that there's a lot of research that goes into it. And an actual company that offers user experience research, they go about and they look at the data, they're pulling up real metrics about how people are traveling through the current design, and they're using that to create a new, more user-friendly design. So a UX designer works with data and is able to craft a specific look based off the data, which is really an optimal thing. Where a web designer is focused on the visual and may look at some stuff, but doesn't have the whole research. And a lot of these user UX designers spend months and like researching all of these things and comparing it to competitors. So there's a lot more that goes into that type of project, more resources, more budget, and so forth to kind of be able to come up with that
Yeah,
kind of
especially if
goal.
they're two different roles. I would say like a lot of these things, as I said in the beginning, overlap with each other. So they're as designers and developers, I feel like we obviously at the end of it we give an experience, we give a website. So we've touched on a lot of these things, but not in the sense of researching it hardcore, and that's your actual role as a user experience designer. Because you're right with the research on.
And a lot of the times too, like people will ask, "Oh, well, what are your improvements for our site or our page?" Of course, we can look at it and give you suggestions, but would it even make sense without looking at data? And a lot of the times we will say to them, well, we need to look at the data to determine
Yeah,
what improvements are worth doing. First, we could, of course, go off best practices, but it could be different for each industry.
yeah, especially if it's not broken. Like it's hard. Sometimes you'll see a site and maybe there are some improvements, but it looks okay. To know what to do next is based on data. Otherwise, you're just shooting blanks in the dark, throwing things against the wall to see what sticks. Trying to come up with another saying. So yeah, I mean, user experience. So and again, I do think that I've seen on LinkedIn where they hire web designers slash UX designers. So some people consider those things to be the same, and they kind of are. But I do feel that they are different beasts in terms of mental user UI. So this is like UI UX. Those are the two sides. UI is more that design brain, like, it looks good, it's branded well. User experience is more the developer brain, where it's like, how does it work? Why does it do this thing? You know? So these two pieces come together and make a full double sun, UX and UI.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know the rest of the story. Remember that guy used to say that? Now you know the rest. It was on 60 Minutes, I think. Now you know the rest of the story. Hmm.
I have a
Well,
quick recap just for
oh,
people that
okay.
are joining now. So before you get into the really funny joke
It's
that
not really.
explains it all. So really just want to recap. Web designers will focus on aesthetics and like the basic user needs, and the user, the UX designer will prioritize user-centric design. So really that would be based off of um, data that they see the user traveling through the page, and they, based on these metrics, we suggest this, and it's research based. So both are really crucial and have served their own purpose. But it's a good thing to understand really what somebody identifies as a web designer versus a UX designer, what is going into it. And I would like, say that UX designer, a lot more goes into it in the sense of research and data and different studies, which is different from a web designer.
Yeah, a lot of the times that I've seen that UX designers know a little bit of code too, and not that they are coders.
Say that in research too,
Yeah, at least they know enough to know it's possible and to say with this, so it's not going to be too crazy, meaning like they're not going to suggest 100 boxes flipping over at the same time because they know that's going to bog down a site. They know enough JavaScript or at least knowledge of to say, do this thing with this component and that's it. So it does kind of overlap with these things. UI, UX.
All right, so let's get to your joke.
Okay, let me get the music back on.
Tell us the joke.
Barring. Yep, see. All right, you ready? A web designer. Wait, let me turn it. Web designer and a UX designer walk into a bar. The web designer says, "Whoa, this place looks amazing." And the UX designer says, "Yeah, but How do we get a drink? Huh? No, get it? Should
All
get it.
right, so that is a good illustration because
It is.
the web designer is focused on the look of the bar. It's so colorful. It has all these things, and there's just interested, and this is such a cool place to be because of how it looks.
Yeah, but if there's no bartender there serving your drinks, or you can't find him, maybe you're going around, where's the bartender? Where's the bartender? It's like clicking
Yeah,
navigation
how do
trying
we
to
even use the bar? Like,
yeah.
where do we get a drink? There's no point. Why
Yeah.
even be there?
So it can look beautiful. And that's props to making things look beautiful, of course, but if there's no the second part of it is actually usability, of course. You can have a whole site that's a JPEG image that looks like a site, but there's no buttons to click. Obviously, that doesn't do the point. So those are extreme. I just hit the microphone. Those are extreme things. Obviously, there's no sites. Maybe there are, but that are JPEGs with no buttons on it. But that just goes to the point of you can create it this way. There's always something flying near me over here. You can create it this way, or you can create it a better way. So those two things. What is that? It's like an orb.
Yeah, what the heck?
It's
Yeah, the ghost following him is just like
the ghost of my grandmother is here. Hello, Maureen. How are you today? Yeah, I don't know what that is. If any paranormal activity people are on here, take a screenshot. We're getting haunted in this. Anyways, yeah. So I think that's a good rundown of what these are. There's other like roles too. There's web designer, UX. There's a web developer. There's web engineers, and I think a lot of these they overlap and they very much are similar, but specialized, and especially in like employment situations. If you're going to hire someone, their role is specialized to do a certain thing. So you can't really hire a web designer and expect them to code unless they're a unicorn like us. But usually these things don't overlap in the sense of they know this whole other job. They know how to be UX if they're a web designer and vice versa, and others.
Yeah, and it's important just to have a basic understanding of the differences and what to expect for each, because there will be budget differences for the web designer versus UX designer, only because there's more that's being done, right?
It's like double, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot more. And it will probably have, I would say, probably 99% of the time, will have a better result in results on how users will interact because they take the time to do the research beforehand. So there's a predictability there in the future of, oh, this will work because this data showed this. So
Yep.
there's definitely benefits. More of an investment, I would say, for a UX designer. But if you have it and you're able to invest in it, it's worth doing that research.
Yeah. Let's look up the going salaries. Let's see here. We have going salary for UX designer. Let's just go by this. Yeah, 94. That's kind of a lot. And this is global, so it depends on where you live, of course. 94 UX. Oh, yeah, just do the same thing. Web designer. Yeah, it's a lot less. Look at that. 65, $25 an hour, 56,000 on payscale.com, 94,000. So it's almost double, really. It depends on your experience. And I do think that I've worked with some designers that really go over the boundary of being a UX designer too. They're not just web designers. So it can be combined. I understand why they would be specialized, but somebody that really knows and loves what they're doing, you'd want to know if you're building something and designing something that looks nice, you'd also want to know and be accomplished in making it actually functional too, right? I wouldn't want to be like, here's a design. I don't know if it's going to work. So I think that a person that's a designer does have the tendencies and skills of a UX designer, maybe not to the point of it being their specialty and being worth the money of hire a UX designer. And the other way, UX designer has to design, or they're just like making wireframes, which I guess is possible too. So
Yeah, so there's all different levels and duties for each one, but definitely heavily based off research, UX design.
we never did our intro. Let's do it now. See, I took the title off so we can reuse it. It's so nice. Need some music now. What day is it? Tuesday? July 9th. Oh my gosh, this year's flying by. It's more than
The
half a
summer
year.
flew by.
Yeah,
Literally, I can't believe June flew right by.
yeah.
So
August. We get remnants of Hurricane Beryl, and the next couple days, I believe it's from that, or at least the low pressure. We're gonna get rain and thunderstorms and lightning. Yes.
oh yeah, that's coming today
It's a little
actually.
crazy out there.
Hasn't started yet, but it is on the forecast.
Oh, Reina's gone. She left. She's out playing in the rain. It's just us. I consider myself both a web designer and a oh, she's back. Never mind. It reminds me of that Tenacious D skit where they're kings, and then one of the he's like, you have to go check in, there's a potato famine in Idaho, go check on it. He's like, what, you want to go check? Okay, I'll go. And then he leaves, and then it's just Jack Black, and he's like, listen, we need to have a meeting of the parliament. There's two kings here, and there can only be one king. I poisoned your wine.
Are you trying to overthrow me or something? Is that how
Listen to me. This is what's no, it's just reminds me of that when he disappears. I know that
we're
song.
a team. There's no I in team.
Yeah, there's not, unless it's a different language. I know that song word by word. Yep. Let's see.
All right.
Do we have
So
anything else to talk about today? It's almost 8:00.
yeah,
It's gonna be a busy day today. We have multiple client calls. Exciting about that. Excited as well. And
exciting about that. Quote of the day.
yeah, that's my
When
final
you're
word.
excited about something.
I'm exciting about that.
Exciting about that.
We have children, the orphanage, to drop off at camp and pick up.
Yeah, a lot
camp.
going on. A lot of errands.
One of the orphans is coming down now. Who's that?
They're not orphans. Don't talk about my kids like that.
So yeah, it's gonna be a long day, and my back still hurts. If you've followed along, I threw out my back yesterday because I'm 42, and I do it about once a year. I move sideways a weird way, and it's gone. So yesterday I was bedbound, which is a horrible lifestyle. I don't know how anybody does it. And now I'm up, and I sneezed earlier, and I almost died. I sounded like a little girl. I was like, ah! And then she just looked away. She didn't say anything at all. Yeah, I mean, it hurts, and hopefully it gets better. I'm trying to do stretches. I went to the chiropractor. His name is Antonio Vincenzo as well. He told me that I had a bone fused to the bottom of my tailbone. It sounds disgusting, but that's what's up in my back. So besides that, I also have a small eustachian tubes that a doctor has ever seen, which is also disgusting. And I was like, can these doctors stop telling me all these weird things? Like, I don't want to know that. But now I know, and now you know. So I don't have to hold on to it forever.
Now that we know your entire anatomy.
Yeah, I've disregarded all HIPAA and medical privacy. Ask away. That song you're hearing was a bar song, Tipsy by Shabuzi, who played the other night. Very catchy song. I like it a lot. Want to play us out with it? Or do you have
yeah. I would say that design is important and make it look good, but it's only as good as the functionality behind it. So making sure those two key pieces, you look at data to kind of be able to make a connection that it makes sense to do it this way. You'll have higher results that users will get to where they need to go if you have some data behind it. So yeah, make it look beautiful, but also take a look at the functionality behind it and even some past data to really relate the two.
Yep. Well said. It
So
isn't.
really, what it goes down to, before you say something, it's more than what's that saying? It's what's inside that counts. Not all about the outer appearances. You know, there's a website that looks beautiful, but really how you function inside in your day-to-day life and how you treat other people. Like that's kind of relating to the website as those two pieces. So
That's actually how I proposed to you. I told you. I said it's not about the outside right now. It's about the inside that counts, obviously.
Yes.
She said, "You're right." I'm glad that stuck with you. Enough. Say it
Yeah,
again.
those were his words. He said, "It's about the inside. Marry me now."
She was like, "Oh, okay."
I love you.
I love you too, Reina. I think we should do the next one from your new cafe area.
Let's save that for the weekend.
Okay. Tomorrow is the 10th, July, Wednesday, hump day. If you have any suggestions for what's going to be on the show, write a comment. As always, share, like. We've been doing some improvements on the site. Go visit 3tonedigital.com, share the site, or don't. We'll be here next time with another topic that is relevant and irrelevant.
Wait. Is that a word?
Relevant.
Is that a word?
It might be. Let's see.
Relevant. Relevance. It seems like I know you meant to say relevant, but it seems like it could be a word.
Relevant. Capable of being clearly understood. That's correct. Relevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's relevant and relevant? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I mean, they're both very similar. Relevant means closely connected or appropriate to what is being done. Supposedly, relevant means oh no.
It's not a word?
No. Quora came in. Relevant is not a word.
All right. So I meant to say relevant. Okay. Now we all know that's not a word.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever I was saying.
Unless we make it a word.
Yeah, let's make it a National Word Day. National Relevant Day.
Oh no.
Coffin. Look at this beautiful fish that our son made at camp.
All right, play us out before you start having a coffee.
Oh, I just coughed my back hurt. Yikes. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday.
Bye, guys.